Mm-mm-mm. I gotta get my lips moist so that I can do this review non-stop. By let me tell you something. I only put lipstick. I'm like, ooh, not lipstick. What the fuck is that? Carmex on when I'm finna go in or when the episode is really, really fucking good. I'm finna go in and the episode is really fucking good. Okay, listen. The haves and the have-nots today. Um, what season is this? Season 3. All I gotta say is when season 4 come back, I already. Jesus Christ. Let me tell you something. TV Guide then kind of spoiled the next 3 episodes or the next 2 episodes that's coming on, to the season finale or whatever. I already know some stuff that's going to happen. I'm not telling y'all to go on TVGuide.com to go look at it, but, if you don't want to be spoiled, but I kind of got spoiled a little bit, the little synopsis or whatever. But all I'm going to say is shit gonna go down. So y'all need to really look at these last couple of episodes because the season finale about to come up in a couple of weeks. If Loving You Is Wrong is coming back on the 22nd. Listen, what they need to do is do a mashup between Has and the Have Not and If Loving You Is Wrong, having a crossover somehow, have at least one or two characters cross over into, different, the different shows. That'd be hot. But anyway, this is what? Episode 22, Dianna Whinchil. Dianna Whinchil has no fucking chill, okay? And she bogus as shit. Dianna came on here like a classier version of fucking Wendy Williams, okay? She sat down looking like Barbara Walters / Diane Sawyer, like she was really finna give you a in-depth, good-ass, interview about Jim and his running for the governor spot and all this stuff, and it flipped into some Wendy Williams type of messy shit. I said, bitch, you fooled us all. She played us like, okay, so you really finna come up here and you finna announce this, okay? That's cool. We've been waiting for this. This is like the worst kept secret because we kind of already knew. But Jim, you're a loving husband, right? Y'all remember what she said last week, and I was just sitting here like, oops, okay. And then Celine pops up on the screen with little Carlos and little Jimmy, okay? And I ain't never seen none of them, the Harringtons. I ain't never seen Catherine, and I damn sure ain't never seen Jim as quiet as they were. Okay? They didn't even really say nothing. Mind you, all of this is live. Maggie was trying to do her fucking job and get that shit off the air because, Diane went in for the kill. So these your kids, right? Mind you, she already put it out that they living in the lower income projects, okay? And Carlos went in on his ass like, yeah, he my daddy. I ain't known him all my life. He knew about us and all this shit. And you know what's fucked up? I ain't even get the chance to know my sister before she died. And I still don't even know my brother Wyatt. I said, oh. And then Diane was like, and let me tell you something. You want to know who fucked it all up for Jim? Dana. Dana came up in there and proved that he was the father. And she was like, we got proof. And, the DNA proves that, these boys are really from the same parents. I said, we know that, girl. Jim just sitting there like, ain't this a bitch? Maggie like, turn that shit off. Dude like, the camera dude, the producer dude down at the bottom like, we can't do that because it's live TV, so you need to shut the fuck up and just roll with it, okay? You already took a hit, just keep it coming. Mind you, Veronica. Listen, Veronica, we'll get to her. She just sitting there like this. I said, Veronica is down there smelling like her shit don't stink like a bitch, okay? She just sitting there like she, got Summer's Eve all between her legs and her shit don't smell like Ned Bitterfish, okay? That's what she's sitting there, standing there just smiling, just gloating up in this shit. And here goes Celine. Celine further makes us realize how dumb she is, okay? They was like, girl, how long you been in this relationship and working with Jim? She said, I've been a maid 28 years and I have 2 kids by him. So 28 years, you've been a maid for this man. Okay, first of all, you allowed yourself to stay a maid and, and didn't even allow yourself to, move up and do something better because you could have. But you know what? Kept her at the deck, okay? But we're going to move on from that. And you got 2 kids. One of your kids is grown as fuck. And then the other one is still growing. So that means you can still get child support from that. You mean to see, you know how motherfuckers be working the welfare system? Celine should have tapped into that ability and worked him. Okay? She don't know what she's doing. I'm just disappointed. I'm like, I would have worked the fuck out of that. I ain't got not one of your kids. I got two, bitch. And you a political figure. Okay? You a powerful figure out here. I will work. Fuck with me if you want to. Where's the money at, ho? Okay, give me a better place. I ain't even trying to be vindictive, but I'm just like, I got your kids. You can at least set me up in a better house, and I can still work, or whatever, or set me up in a better, job opportunity and let me work that, and you just pay me my installments of my child support, and we be all to the good. We wouldn't even have this problem. I'd be quiet, just as long as you on the up and up and I'm on the up and up. But no, Celine was so dick drunk and in so-called love with this man who did not want him. And want her, because on the next episode, he was like, bitch, you got crazy. That's what it was. Celine fucked this up. Okay, Celine did a little bit too much for little Jimmy. Okay, and you just scared him off. And he just said, you know what, girl, I ain't got time for you. And I was just like, Celine, I'm just so disappointed in you. So I know so many people who would have worked that shit. And I ain't even trying to make them seem like gold diggers or whatever, but I mean really worked it in the sense that they would have got all that worth out of. They would have went around, got the child support, living in a better condition. Hell, probably even stopped working with this man or got set up in a better job or whatever so that they won't have to solely depend on. But she was in love with him, And Carlos was like, girl, I don't want nothing from him. I'm past the age of needing a father, okay? But my little brother, he needs his daddy. He was like, do you want to make an apology? Jim turned around like, and then turned back around to the camera like, I guess I apologize. I said, he don't mean that shit. That ain't gonna change nothing. It was like, Carlos was like, I don't want your motherfucking apology. It was like, Catherine, you knew about this shit? Catherine ain't say shit. I was just in there like, what? Next thing you know, Maggie did pour some liquid over the little, broadcasting thing or whatever, the equipment there, and it blanked out everything. So Jim was pissed off. David pissed off. Everybody pissed off. Maggie trying to go in on Dianna. And they was like, bitch, get the fuck up out of here. So this is when Veronica brings her ass. I can't even remember how this shit started. Who fucking cares? Because we know it's all out there. But Veronica was being such a bitch. Okay? Veronica went through like 5 different emotions in the span of 1 fucking minute. Okay? 1 damn minute. She was comforting Catherine. Like, oh my God, Catherine, I didn't know. Like, it is just so, it's terrible what's going on. Like, I'm here for you. Maggie came over there and said something. And she said, you better get your bitch, David. I said, whoo, whoo. She said, excuse me, bitch? You better get your bitch, David. She literally went from this Karen to, she went to the whole extreme left, and then she came back smiling. She was Karen. She was pissed. She was vindictive. She was smiling. She was all of this stuff in one. Excited. I was just like, get her on some meds, okay? Because she ain't all the way there. So she said all this. Catherine was like, girl, what's going on? Why are you talking like this? Mind you, Catherine think that Veronica's still somewhat of a friend to her, okay? And this is where I'm finna get on Catherine's ass, all right? So Veronica was like, my husband been fucking around with Maggie. I came to the hotel room and I saw them fucking around. David was like, ain't nothing even happened. And I said, well, Veronica, you trying to get pissed off at Jim? Because she tried to throw Jim shit out there, like this what the fuck you get. And I feel sorry for you, Catherine, because all of this shit and gotta, your shit coming back to haunt you, Jim. And I'm like, Veronica, you just equated yourself and the shit that you just did is the same equivalent to Jim. Okay, he was fucking around in his marriage and you fucking around in yours. Okay, so what's the damn difference? The fact that he fucked around with more and all this path of destruction that he's causing, and you're also causing destruction too, you ain't no different and you ain't no better. And, when he said all that, Jim was basically like, she was like, telling her to get the fuck out of there. And telling David, you need to control your woman and all this stuff, and you need to do this. And he was barking at her. She was like, no, bitch. That bitch over there, she fucking take order from you. That's your dog over there, okay? And he said, well, you acting like the bitch in my face right now. I said, woo, woo. They was just going at it. I was here for it. I said, go ahead, something finna happen. And next thing you know, Veronica put it out there. She was like, bitch, just like I had to get your son in order, huh? Ask why it has booty feel. That's basically in translation of my talk, how I interpreted it. That's how she said it. Because Jim figured it out right away. He said, what the fuck you mean? He was like, yeah, I'm a fucking lawyer, and I set that shit up, okay? Because you couldn't keep that nigga in line, so therefore I had to put him in line. I said, whoa. Andrew, I'm finna get pissed off at Catherine because Catherine is literally standing there listening to all this. Mind you, I don't care if you understand what's going on, but your son's name is being called up in this, and she's talking very dirty about him, and you just standing there. Mind you, Jim is pissed, but you just standing there. I was like, Catherine, that ain't your friend right about now. Fuck all that. Go over there and punch her in her face or do something. You bust Candace over her head with a pot of water, with a bottle of liquor. You can go over there and punch that bitch with your ring on her finger or whatever. Put a scar on her face. Catherine just stood there. But Jim got pissed off. And 1-800 choke that bitch happened. I was looking for Uncle Joe to come up in there. Y'all remember on Madea movies, Uncle Joe be up in there. 1-800 choke that hoe. That's what I was waiting for, and Jim did that shit. David come out there, get your hands off my wife. I said, David, let it go. You gotta let it go. She deserved it. I mean, I'm not here for people putting their hands on each other, but that bitch needs to get knocked the fuck out, okay? Something needs to be happening to, Veronica. She needs to get her. I can't wait for her to get arrested. She needs to go to jail, and somebody needs to take us. Take us with a broomstick or some shit, I don't know, okay? Something has to happen to her so she can get through her mind that you can't be doing this shit. And they told her to get her ass up out of there. I was like, okay. Now, when she leaves, that's when Catherine talking to Jim like, bitch, what's she talking about? What happened to Wyatt and all this stuff? And I'm sitting here like, Catherine, you put that motherfucker in jail. You knew he was in jail. Read between the goddamn lines, Catherine. Okay, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. You just don't want to say it right then and there. Because you probably thinking, nah, Veronica, that's my friend. She'll never do that. That bitch stopped being your friend a few episodes ago, okay? A few episodes ago. But, Veronica is just, So let me just continue with Veronica. Jeffrey is in the hotel. Landon comes up there and he talking, and Jeffrey was basically like, it is what it is. Landon still being Landon. Landon just don't know how to let go and move on. He don't want you. If you just give me a chance, I'm pretty sure you'll want me. You'll see that I'm a good guy. Is it because you still want Wyatt? You know he's straight, okay? But if you just give me a chance, I'm like, Landon, that's probably a turn on to him, because that would be a turn on to me. Somebody did that to me too, was begging, and I just like, when you come on too fucking strong like that, that's a 100 complete turn off to me. Okay, so that's probably what's going on, and his heart is not there with you. He can be cool with you. He can be still friends with you. He can like you. He can even have love for you. That don't mean that he's in love with you, and that don't mean that love is I want to be in an intimate relationship type of love. It means I love you as a friend or whatever. Everybody's not gonna want you, and you can't force them. And you forcing him. You trying to force him. You trying to force his love upon you. Like, that's some fuck shit. But then here comes Miss Veronica. What is he doing up here? Why haven't you gone to see Melissa? Bitch, I'm not finna go see that hoe. Oh, okay. And Landon was like, you're so fucking rude or some shit like that. And he just called her ass out and all this shit. And then Veronica went there and said, so you gonna let her disrespect your mother like that? He said, you damn well I am. Because I don't give a fuck about you. I said, oh, okay, play Big Sean in the background. That's all that was going through my mind. And then she was like, you need to get your shit together because you got a baby on the way. Landy said, wait a minute, what? It was like, yeah, you got a baby on the way. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? And I said, Veronica, what you think this gonna do? This ain't gonna do nothing. All your plotting and planning ain't doing nothing but pushing him away. It's not scaring him no more because Jeffrey stood up and went off. You did this. You pissed off that I'm gay. You tried to put a car on me. You fucking manipulated me to the point that I got drunk and got a bitch pregnant. You took my apartment. You cut off my shit. And now you doing this? Baby, I don't give a fuck what else you doing, okay? If you gonna do it, just do it, alright? Because I'm tired of playing these goddamn games. And then she was like, alright, I see what you trying to do. You trying to stand the fuck up. But guess what? I'm your mother. You got part of it from me. And you know what? You ain't seen shit yet. And I was like, Veronica, get the fuck out of here. She just standing there. That's what her looks and stuff was saying. You know, she just standing there. Next thing you know, Jeffrey put his arms around Landon and was like, Mama, look. I said, no, Jeffrey. No, Jeffrey. I know you trying to play her and make her feel uncomfortable and let her know that you ain't fucking with her like that no more. You ain't scared no more. But you kissed the wrong person. This boy already wants you. Now you finna fuck with his emotions. And sure enough, when he leaves, when Veronica leaves, he was like, wait, Mom, you don't want to stand and watch and see what else happened next? She was like, bitch, get the fuck. And Landon thinking that he finna come up in there and Wyatt up in there. Why is he in there? You know he just using you. You know he this. And I'm sitting here like, Landon, they been friends for life. So of course he gonna be up in there. You don't know exactly what's going on, so you need to shut up. You need to shut up, okay? Yeah, Wyatt probably is using Jeffrey a little bit, taking advantage of the fact that he like him or whatever, but you don't know the particulars of what's going on in this certain situation, so you just shut up. Your feelings just hurt because the dude that you want don't want you. Moving on from that. This shit with Candace and Oscar. So the social worker come over. And she, looking at the house and all that stuff and was like, okay, fine. You put down in cash a $1.2 million deposit on this house. So where you getting this money from? Because when I tried to look you up at the office, they didn't say that you worked there, And it was like, what you mean you looked me up? Because I never gave you that information. Remember you said it at the hospital? Okay, well, I haven't started yet, So that's maybe why. She was asking so many questions, and I was here for Candace being like, why are you asking all these questions? Why you need proof of this? She wanted proof of where she got her money from, where she did this, where she did that, what she doing this, what color is the sky, are you sure what day is your period, when do you menstruate, when do you ovulate? I was like, God damn, that's how many questions she was asking. I was like, and I figured it out right then and there. We all know the social worker is only doing all of this because of what Hannah said. She's on Team Hannah, all right? And then, she was trying to catch Candace up until Oscar comes in and was basically like, she said, well, if you used to be an escort, yeah, I looked you up and I know it's cool, but, you got to show a steady source of income and all this stuff. Candace like, I used to do that to pay for college, okay? You ain't got to throw that up in my face. Oscar was like, let me tell you something. I brought this house for her and I put it in her name because I'm in love with her and all that stuff. And if you need the judge to see that she got some steady flow of income coming, here go $500,000, put it in her bank. I said, wait a minute, what? And then he was like, yeah, Candace, go ahead, put your account number in here. I said, oh, okay. And it totally skipped my mind until I came back and I looked. I was like, okay. Tika Sumter had tweeted, be careful what you put online. And then as soon as she said, I seen that tweet, I said, fuck. She didn't put her shit online. On his computer. He got her account number. Y'all know he ain't right. And at first I was like, if Oscar was on the up and up, and if we knew that he was a good guy, meaning that he wasn't sent by Jim or David, I would have been like, Candace, you better do all that you can to keep that man, because that's a good man right there, okay? But we know he faking and phony. Now, anytime he want to, if he probably saw her put that account number in, or he got it saved up in there, all he got to do is drain her accounts whenever he want to for Jim and David. Bitch, I said, fuck. Ain't that some shit? But, after that, we got Benny going over to Hannah's house and got her a new truck. The truck looked like it used to be an old police cruiser because you saw the emblem was, scraped off or whatever. But, he took her to the tow yard, told her about that. Of course, she got questions and then took him to the house. And she was like, what is this? How you affording this? Oh, the owner of the tow truck yard threw this in too, because he just wanted to get rid of it. I'm just sitting here like, the lies that y'all are making up on this show is a little much, and I can't wait till y'all get tripped up in it because y'all doing a lie. I said, what? Hannah ain't gonna believe this shit. But Hannah kind of went along with it. I said, now Hannah knew something ain't right. But Benny is her little boy. Benny is a mama's boy. Benny just needs to cut that umbilical cord and just let Hannah live where the fuck she want to live at, okay? And he trying to show her the house and trying to convince her to stay at the house. He was like, look at your room. This will be your room, okay? You know, open up the closet. I got your clothes up in. I said you took a shopping spree at Walmart and filled that closet up. You better do that shit for your mama. And then they went downstairs and ate. And then after they was eating, after they was finished, okay, you know, Hannah was giving me all natural Erica Badu style, you know, tees with the scarf on her head and shit like that from the motherland. And I was like, go ahead, Hannah, that look kind of cute on you, girl. I love when Hannah has her natural hair. I really do. Fuck that wig. What's wrong with you going to work with your natural hair? And then, all of a sudden, they started talking about Candace and then the social worker. And then Hannah put it out there that she told the social worker, you know, because it couldn't get no reception in the house because she was waiting on a call from the social worker. And basically, you know, told him that she trying to get the baby and all this stuff. And I said, Hannah, why you gotta mess up a good moment? Okay, just fucked it up by putting this shit up there. Benny, like, you know she want that baby. Why you gonna do some shit like that? Hannah don't give a fuck. Okay? Moving on from that. Speaking of this baby, we get this thing where Quincy is back at his sister's place. And the sister is going, he hurt as fuck, okay? He can't go to the hospital and put his name in the system and like that because the cops, 9 out of 10, they really are looking for him. The sister goes, and Benny came up in here and he hit me. You need to take care of that and get little Quincy back because that's going to fuck up my money. I said, this welfare scheming asshole. That's all she care about is the goddamn money that the baby's going to bring in. And I said, wait a minute. You know, you usually have siblings that'll tell you that when another sibling is fucking up to get their life straight. This situation, you got both of them asses running schemes and shit. And then, you know, all of a sudden we get a knock at the door. This the cop. If you ain't got no warrant, you can't come in. I said, you know, open up that door and see what they want. Now, see, this is where the cop fucked up at. And I don't know any cops that'll do this. If you're in a case suspecting a person of child abuse, why would you tell the person where the child is at? They asked the girl, do you know where Quincy at? You know where your brother at? She was like, I ain't speak to him. He in jail. Okay, he not here. He in jail. I don't know where Quincy Jr. at. He was with his grandmother last time I saw that. You know, so you need to talk to him. Talk to them. Whatever happened to that boy happened in the custody of the grandmama. Okay, you know, where is he? He is in Cook County Hospital. I said, what the fuck? What? Bitch, you too cute to be so dumb to be talking about this stupid shit, okay? You need to go back and read the police handbook on these matters, all right? Because something ain't right. You ain't supposed to offer up all this information, you know? And then when the cops leave, Quincy was standing outside the door, you know, on the other side of the door. They whispering, but the cops could have still been outside the door, and then they just started talking in their regular voice. She was like, bitch, you need to go and handle that, and you need to handle Hannah too, and all this stuff, and yada, yada, yada. And remember how we used to do back in the day? That's what we need to do. Squad up. Yeah, yeah. I'm sitting here like, you know, the cops, if they was real cops, you know, they could have, because my ass would have been listening, okay, just to set their ass up to see if they was playing, because they could have just, you know, act like they walked away and still been listening behind the door, like you and him talking, and could have got caught. And I was like, I was waiting for them to get caught, but of course, that ain't gonna happen, because next week, you know, Quincy gonna, choke up the social worker. I said, God damn. God damn. But did I get everything? Let me rewind, fast forward this episode because I'm trying to check and see because I don't want to miss nothing. But I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, I got everything. This episode was good. Okay, it had me into it. I can't wait till If Loving You Is Wrong comes back though. I really can't. But y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. Listen, I already got the plans and treatment and stuff, you know, ready for season 4. I can just figure out, you know, some stuff that's going to pop off in season 4, and it better pop off in my head. No, I'm not going to reveal it because I don't want nobody stealing my ideas and I'm not getting paid for it. But it is what it is. Listen, once again, y'all, I will be down in Atlanta this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you see me, holla, come to the blackout. We're going to have some fucking fun. And I'll see y'all later. Peace. One more thing. At the very end of this episode, though, see, as soon as I turned out the camera, I remembered it. David came into Jim's office and was like, you know what? My wife is a bitch, but if you ever put your hands on her again, and I see that look up in your face, and I know that look, you better back the fuck away. I said, David, just let him handle it. I know you're trying to stand up for Veronica, but Veronica wouldn't stand up for you like that. Jim was hurt. Jim was hurt. He was pissed off. He on the phone, and I'm 9 out of 10. So I think it's those people that kidnapped Candace for him, that family. He got on that phone and made a hit list. He said, "This is my hit list, bitch, and this is who I want. I want the judge gone. I want son gone, and I want Harrington, the lawyer, gone. And that cop Tyler, Tyreek or whatever, the black cop, he want them gone." And he said, "Murder them." I said, "Oh shit, it's about to be fucking on."